everybody, and welcome back to And They Were Classmates.
Oh my God, they were classmates.
Special Dennis's birthday edition.
It is Dennis's
It's
birthday.
my dad's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. He doesn't listen to my podcast because he doesn't really get it. But
We could do like HBD, and then the D goes down to ENNIS.
I've definitely done that on birthday cards many times before. No, so happy birthday to my dad. I'm
birthday,
taking him
Jess's
out for
dad.
dinner tonight.
Very cool.
And we went to the Renaissance Fair this weekend.
Woo.
We went to Bristol,
Mhm.
and it closed early. So Bristol's like have you ever been to the Bristol Renaissance Fair?
No.
It is a huge Renaissance Fair. It's on the Wisconsin-Illinois border. It's like it's been rated the #1 Renaissance Fair in the country. I think it's the best one.
Mhm.
I might be biased because it's my favorite place on earth.
Right.
But so we went, and it rained the entire time we were there.
Jeez.
My boots, I was going to wear the boots with this dress today that I'm wearing, because I'm wearing a long black dress for our audio listeners.
True. We do have a couple.
And we have a couple.
I was going to say, I don't check the stats on Spotify. It's a lot harder to see.
Yeah.
I don't really. I've
It's
heard it
fine.
like a couple people say like, oh, I listened to it. And I'm like, oh, did you like it? And they're like, yeah, it was on Spotify. But most of the viewers aren't YouTube. But that's okay.
But we love all of our viewers equally.
Mhm.
We have a very deep parasocial relationship with each and every one of you, and all of you should check out our Patreon right now. Sorry, that was fucked up.
I think it's unlisted on the link tree, but
Is it?
someday.
No, it isn't. I just
It
checked.
isn't?
No, I just checked because
Oh.
I linked it to. I was adding it into my link tree a little
Mm.
bit ago because I realized that I had a link to our YouTube channel, but not all of our
Yeah.
links. So I was like, oh, it makes more sense to throw our link, like it's link treeception. I have to throw the link tree in the link tree so people can get to it. And I looked, and I was like, oh, we have a Patreon. Cool.
That's not supposed to be there.
No, but
okay.
it's not.
Should we add a back button to Jesse's link tree?
We could.
'Cause
I can
it's
send
like-
you my link tree.
It's like if you press the ATWC button on your link tree,
Mm-hmm.
and then we make it to the ATWC link tree, and people want to go back to yours, it's like, oh no.
Just in case, I think I only have my TikTok and my Twitter linked on my link tree right now.
Uh-huh.
I think I took my Instagram off of there. Not because I'm like, I don't want anyone to find my Instagram, but because I don't care about Instagram as much.
Yeah.
I don't post there. I post on TikTok and Twitter.
Mhm. You grew up. Instagram irrelevant.
Well, I'm shit you not. I used to post daily on Instagram. Like in high school, I posted 3 TikToks a day. I posted once on Instagram. I was trying really hard to be like, this was during my wannabe cosplay influencer era.
Right.
So I spent all my money on cosplays. This was 2020, so like it was the time to do it if I was going to. So I spent a good chunk of 2020 uploading 3 TikToks a day. Usually only one of which would be in cosplay. It would be like 1 cosplay, 1 funny, and 1 lip sync. Not on purpose, but just because that was what I ended up doing, because that's what I like doing now. But now I don't bother with that because that was so much work. It was so fun. I really did enjoy it, and I do love it. But because like what gets popular on TikTok has changed so much, like the algorithm has changed so much, I'm not funny enough to be famous on TikTok anymore. Yeah. You used to not have to be funny. You had to just like look okay and lip sync well and be able to like act funky, and like I can do that.
Yeah.
I can overact for fun. I used to do that all the time. But yeah, so I was like deep. I also, my Instagram is a little embarrassing, like, but not for like the reasons that most people expect. It's because I refuse to delete anything. And I've
Yeah.
had the same Instagram since I was like 13.
I used to kind of be like that. I took most of it down, but my first like 6 or so posts are just like core ones that I'm like, I'm not going to delete them.
I can't, like, I went through a phase in like middle school where I was like a Stan account on Maine. So yeah, so I had deleted my sophomore year of high school. I downloaded an app that let me download 50 posts a day, or let me delete 50 posts a day on Instagram, because you couldn't mass delete like that at the time. And I don't know if there even is really a way to still.
You could probably mass archive, but I don't know if
But you can't delete anymore.
so much.
Yeah, no. So what it would do is I downloaded this sketchy app that I logged into, and it let me delete 50 posts for free a day. Like you could pay to delete more, but I didn't because I was 15.
Yeah.
And I was just deleting a lot of Black Butler fan art that I posted. There was a lot of anime stuff, a lot of Black Butler, a lot of Oregon High School Host Club, Attack on Titan. You can tell what years it was just by but that was middle school for me.
Yeah.
And then so I finally went through and deleted all of those. Deleted a bunch of stuff. I used to have separate Instagrams too for cosplay and like main, and then I I still have all my old accounts because I got bullied in high school, and I had a very specific thing where I used to change when you used to be able to change your Instagram handle and you didn't have to wait 60 days every single time. You only had to wait it was either 2 weeks or a month, something like that. It was a shorter amount of time. So I used to change it for holidays.
Right.
Right. Like on the 1st of December, I would change it to jollyjessi.mp4 because that's my, that's everything. So that's why I say I'm not hiding my Instagram. I'm just not linking it.
Yeah.
But, or I would make it spooky jessi.mp4 for, October, or more accurately because of what year it was, spoopy.
Yeah. Wow.
Cusper. I love being a millennial Gen Z cusper. I still say spoopy just out of habit sometimes. I'm like, ooh, that was spoopy. And my boyfriend will be like,
stop.
It's like how my dad picked up doggo from me, and now
oh no,
he picked up doggo from me in 2012. And now Dennis still says doggo to this day. He'll point out stuff and be like, isn't that cute doggo? It's a good pupper. I'll be like, yeah, Dad. Thanks.
That's still popular.
He literally just turned 59 today. Oh, right. He gets a pass. Today is quite literally his 59th birthday. He keeps getting letters from AARP, and it's really funny because the closer he gets, the more upset he gets about them. Yeah. Not because he's like, I'm not old, but because he's like, I'm not going to respond. I'm not retiring. Leave me alone. But yeah, so I had to go through, and I think I still have. When I started deleting posts, I had over 2,000 posts on Instagram. I think now I'm down. I know when I deleted all the posts, I went down to under 1,000. I think now I'm back up. But when I was changing my name that much, in high school, there was one time I changed my name, and while it was changed, someone made an Instagram with my old handle, my regular. Well, at that point, I wasn't using jessi.mp3. I was using jessi.mp4 or something like that. I was using something really similar, but I changed it because this genuinely upset me so much, because they took that name and they started just pulling pictures off of my Facebook and off of Snap, places that weren't Instagram, and posting them on their
profile.
Well, yeah, and also doing it, but every single post was captured with the ugliest picture of her I've ever seen. Oh. And one of them was the picture of me finding my sophomore prom dress, because I went to prom all 4 years. Because my boyfriend Ace is 2 years older than me, so he asked me to prom his junior and senior year, and then my junior and senior year I told him, get back in here. We're going to prom together. We're going to my prom. So for my sophomore year, I found this really pretty blue dress on Amazon that we had to go and get altered, because of course, whatever, I was always willing to pay more for alterations to spend less on an Amazon dress. Sure. Because it's cheaper to get it altered than to get it custom made. And when I did that, my mom had a picture of me. It was this picture of me, I'm mid-sentence, but you can see on my face that I'm really happy because they just finished pinning up my dress to show me how it was gonna fit. And so you can see me my hands are even up, I'm obviously talking, and someone captioned it with ugly dress on an ugly girl, shit like that. And that's one of those things where it's and people wondered why I became mean in high school. Yeah. That's one of those things that when I look back on. I've had a lot of problematic eras, clearly. We've talked about it on this show. But, I did definitely, in my later high school years, go through, this intense mean girl era, just because in my brain there was no one there for me but myself. So I had to be, I couldn't, I was mean to people who had even, this is going to sound bad because, they did deserve me being mean to them, right? But not in the way that I was, if that makes sense. It's people that I had disagreements with and that I should have been mean to, but not in the way that I was, if that makes sense.
You did it overboard.
Well, see, part of my problem was that I was surrounded by people who were very toxic, and I no longer talk to. People who gave me very toxic ideas of of how I should be interacting with other people, of how what's healthy, what isn't. What a healthy amount of anger to hold is. Right. And I was holding a lot of anger at that point. And that was my big thing. So I went through this phase at the end of high school where I was just I wasn't, this is going to sound bad. I wasn't mean to anyone's faces. I was just in a group chat with other people where we were saving pictures and posting them, being oh, your makeup's ugly. Whatever. Oh, I don't like this. And some of the people that I was talking about did deserve it because they weren't good people, if that makes sense. But that wasn't the way to handle it. Right. And a lot of these were people that I had known for a long time. So I was able to be especially cruel because, I was in the group chat and I could be well, this is no wonder they have this insecurity because they have this.
Yeah.
And like even to this day, I still have to fight like the mean girl urge to just like remember people's insecurities like that, because I don't like having that memory. I hate that that's a memory that I have now, and that I will probably always have. I will always know, like, oh, if I pick this person's insecurity, I know in my brain, if they ever hurt me, I can do this to hurt them back.
Yeah, and it's just like, it comes automatic, but you're like, no.
Yeah, but now as like an adult, I'm like, that's not healthy. Like
Yeah.
and even like as a teen, I hated thinking like that, but
it was like a defense mechanism.
yeah, because every time I tried to be nice, it didn't work. I had this, I was told, I don't know if this is true. People who went to high school with me can tell me, I guess. Hit me up in DMs if you're listening to this. I'd love to know what you said about me in high school now that we're this far removed. But like, I remember I was told I had a reputation for being really snooty and like snobbish and standoffish. And I still don't know where that came from, because like in my brain, I was trying so hard to be nice to everyone. I like for so long. And then I was just like given nothing in return, partially because I was an undiagnosed neurodivergent person. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I didn't realize that the ways that I was acting were weird. Right. Like yeah. I was like, this is how friends act. And it was not. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't know. It's just like, now it's just a weird like muscle memory that I have to like actively suppress.
Yeah. I had a thing, like in my senior year, I was really trying to make friends with more women and queer people. Mm-hmm. And it's really tough in early transition because you're so, like people can't really like trust you so much. Like now I'm like better at makeup. I have a more feminine haircut, more feminine proportions and whatnot. So I think people are more willing to like include me in those circles. But when you're much earlier in transition and your hair is a little shorter and it's more like man hair, you know?
Yeah.
Like people don't really like automatically trust you as much as you wish they would. And so I would often hold that against people.
Yeah.
And I still have people coming, you know, and trying to like, you know, like say all these things about like these situations that happened like, you know, 16 months ago by now. Mm-hmm. And then, but then like it's really hard in those situations to say like, well, I've changed so much because like this person who's coming at me is like just graduating as a senior now, and they were a junior last year. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you did all this damage, da, 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 da. And it's like, I don't know, like I'm just a completely different person now.
Oh yeah. As you like, I'm gonna, as someone that's like, for the further away you get from high school, the more you realize how much your environment really influenced how you acted in high school. And I'm not trying to say that as like I was only shitty in high school because my friends were like, no, like I just acknowledged, I know that I was shitty. I know that I wasn't a great person for a couple of years. And I hate that. And I actively try to like work against that now. That's why I do like so much community outreach now, which sounds bad. Like I did community outreach because I was a mean girl in high school, but whatever.
But yeah, I was trying to make friends with like theater crowd too, which made it even worse because that's all convoluted. Oh, yeah. And yeah, I just wanted so bad to be like in those circles. And then another aspect to it is I'm very straight edge. Like I don't do anything like that. And so I feel like that kind of contributed to people not like trusting me so much, is because I had like that's
always something that's thrown me off. I don't understand why people, as someone who like was pretty straight edge and like I only stopped being like really straight edge partly during the pandemic and partly after I turned 21, right? Mm-hmm. Like most people did. I was like, oh, 2020, there's no consequences. I can just do whatever. And then I hit 21 and I was like, oh, cool, it's legal now. I can like, but I feel, I don't know. I've never understood being like, what do you mean you don't drink? Like, yeah, no, I don't, like, because even as someone that can drink and legally, I don't, people get confused because I only want to drink like one drink at a time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's because I don't want to get drunk. I just like the flavor. I like a fruity little drink. Yeah. I like a little treat. Mm-hmm. And people are like, well, that's it. Why don't you want to? I'm like, 'cause I don't. It's fine. Yeah, when it would be like, when people would just like sneakily like go out to the car and like, but then I was like part of the people that they would like exclude that from so heavily and try to make it like seem like they weren't doing it. And so it added further to that disclusion. Oh yeah, because there's always going to be that thought in their heads that you could be the one to rat them out. Yeah, and like I never would and I never did. And it's just weird how that automatic assumption is formed. Yeah, it's one of those things that like I get where they're coming from because they didn't know you. Mm-hmm. And for all they were like, oh, we don't know you super well. You don't do any of these things with us. You just kind of come along. And you don't look like us. Yeah, you look queer. You look like a queer. So we going on. No, but I get like it's one of those things where I can get where they're coming from, but at the same time, that's not an excuse to completely exclude you from like friendship.
Yeah. That's weird.
Like, I've had lots of friends who smoke so much weed all the time, constantly. Like, they're constantly, like, you go into their car, it smells like weed. All their clothes smell like weed, whatever. And I'm not a person that, like, I will indulge, I will partake. I don't smoke all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a normal human being that lives within driving distance of legal weed. So it's like,
right.
So but I would never inherently distrust someone just because they didn't want to participate in like drinking with me or smoking with me or like doing anything like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And then I feel like I would also sort of disclude the people. Maybe I'm overusing disclude, but like there were people who were genuinely nice to me and wanted to be friends with me, but because of like the other people playing like hard to get in a way, like I wanted more to be friends with them than the people who were like actually being nice to me and being friends with me. And that's like a tough feeling to like reflect on, because it's like I could have had a much more positive senior year had I just like really said like, okay, well, these people are excluding me, these people are being mean to me, there's nothing I can do, I should turn to these people and make like a really core friend group out of that. Mm-hmm. But like at the time it's so like no, like that's like too easy. Like I want to work towards
I get that one. That was people. Part of why I ended up like part of the reason why I ended up like so jaded by the end of high school was that I had done that song and dance so many times where like it would be like a group of people that I had one friend in the group, so I'd be like, okay, well, this is my really close friend, so I want to be friends with all you guys because that way we can all be friends, you know. And then but none of them wanted anything to do with me. They all thought I was weird. They all thought I was snobby for some reason. Like I still look, I know I keep coming back, I don't get it. I really don't, like I don't, because for one thing, I'm poor. And I don't mean that in like a, well, you can't be snob, like, but I mean that in like a, these were people who were also like at a similar, like we all had very similar situations, and they would still be like, well, Jessi's a snob about it. And I'm like, well, why would I be? Mm-hmm. We're in the same boat and I'm perfectly happy in the boat. I'm fine here. Like I was being raised by a single dad, and a lot of them are being raised by single parents, but they were like, well, you have both your parents in your life. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't like, okay, like I just like, it was just weird. I never understood like the things that made me a snob versus other people. That might just be the autism,
right?
Might be my struggle to read social cues based on differences in my brain. Well, I guess we'll never know.
And then every time someone like brings up old situations and shit, like the number one thing I think about is like, I don't know if this is even true, but like at one point I read or heard or saw on a video that like 90% of the thoughts you have today are the thoughts you had yesterday. And so it's like you every day you have like a majority of the same thoughts, and especially when you're in the same situations and settings every day, it's like really hard to grow and change. So I would have people coming at me for things I did last year, or even people saying like, hey, last year was insane, I want to apologize for all that. That's just the number one thing I think about is like, yeah, we were all like in the same shit every single day. And so there's not much time to pause, reflect, think, change. And even when you do try to do that, your result and your like established like idea of like how I'm going to change is still very rooted in like a foil of what's going on instead of just something else completely.
I remember, I still think about to this day, the day that, so when I got like found out for being a mean girl, what happened was someone that was in my group chat decided that they didn't want to be, this is insane. Okay. So there's like layers. So a person in this like mean person group chat that I was in, I don't want to call it a mean girl group chat because it wasn't just girls, but so in this mean person,
and they didn't talk about the 2004 movie all that
they
much.
Didn't, you'd be surprised. No, but in like this like mean chat that we had, because I don't think anyone in it is a girl anymore. I think we're all non-binary or men, which explains a lot when you think about it. But one person in it was like kind of in the middle between these two groups, between us and the group that we were being like kind of mean with, because I had previously been like in this group, and I thought they were all fake. They all kind of were, because it was high school, so of course everyone was. But in my, high school brain, I was like, well, this is worse than anyone else has ever been ever because it's happening to me. So so this person got into an argument with another person that was in the chat that was closer to like me and the other people that were like mean in the chat. And so what happened was they screenshot our entire chat to get that one person in trouble without thinking about the fact that we get, you know, the rest of us in trouble. So all of us got pulled in the office one by one.
Yeah.
And none of us got in any real trouble besides just being told, like, don't do it again. And then we got in trouble again for messaging in the group chat, who's the snitch? Because it was only people in that group chat that were, like, called the office. Like, it was painfully obvious.
Right.
And then it became painfully obvious who it was because they stopped responding and then left the chat. Which then, like, a couple hours after I got out of the office, like, for the talk, I went to go and talk to the girls who I knew had been sent the screenshots, who had then reported us to the school, like, and I went to them and I was like, hey, that wasn't cool of me, I'm sorry. And I was, like, crying a little bit because of course I was. And they were like, well, you're not sorry because you actually feel bad, you're sorry because you got caught. And I looked at them and I was like, you can believe that all you want, but this is my apology.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Because I knew that there was nothing I could do to this day. I'm sure if they ever hear this, they're all gonna be like, what do you mean we weren't fake to you? And I'll be like, yeah, the axe forgets, the tree remembers, all that shit. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that it all just kind of really blew out of proportion over time. And then the next year sucked for me because that was my junior year. So I had to go through another full year of doing theater with these people. Like, this was my theater group too. So I spent my senior year being exiled by all of the people in my age group and the teacher. But the freshmen loved me.
Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with Jess?
Well, it didn't help that one of the freshmen, like the main freshman that joined that year was a girl that I had babysat.
Right.
So I just
what are you all talking about?
Yeah, so all of them were kind of like...
watched Cars together.
Yeah, we used to, literally, she was like, we used to play Minecraft together. Like, no, so it was, and then I had to, like, tell her what happened, and she was like, I think they're kind of overreacting. And I was like, don't tell them that. Don't say that. I was like, I cannot get into trouble. Because I don't even, like, I don't want this to sound like I'm trying to paint myself in a great light. I know I fucked up. I know I kind of deserved to be exiled that last year. I know that I was mean. But I also recognize the toxic cycles that I was in, and I recognize that now as a 23-year-old person, I have broken those cycles and I've removed myself from that. And I'm very proud of that because it was my mother. Because I learned how to do it from my mother. Like, not to be that guy, like, oh, it's my mom. But my mom is also, like, very similarly, like, petty, I guess, where, like, she also remembers stuff like that and just, like, uses it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like, oh, you learn from the best.
Right.
Like, and that sounds mean to my mom. I love my mom. I really do. I do love my mom. Her and I just have had a very rocky time over the last 23 years. Well, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I'll give her 18. Once her and my dad broke up, it got a little dicey.
I had a thing, like, in spring of my junior year where I exited, like, a really shitty relationship and was feeling very self-sabotagey. So I wrote up this whole, like, thing where I had, like, this crush on this girl before my toxic relationship started. And I wrote it in, like, November, I guess, before everything. And I, like, wrote down every thought I had. It was like journaling, but I did it in a Google Doc. And so then for some reason after the relationship, I decided...
I want to make a joke, but I need to ask if you had come out and started your transition yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, so you were still teenage boy journaling.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, wait, no, I was like, I need to know though. I need to know the timeline because that is what, like, every like guy I knew in high school that needed to journal but, like, refused to because it was a girl thing did that exact thing.
So I wrote down every little situation, every little thought in a Google Doc, and so then after the relationship, I was also not a fan of like private drama in general. I was I hate how everyone has, like, their little situation and then it's, like, this hidden thing and people are like, this person is so cool, and then it's like, oh, did you know about this? So I was like, I'm just gonna publish.
You wrote an expose?
About myself. I'm going to publish my thoughts.
Are you Alexander Hamilton? You wrote your
own.
You wrote the Reynolds pamphlet?
Yes, I have a post. Hold on, we're gonna pause.
Hold up.
And I don't know if I'll show this on the podcast or not. So, oh man, acne.
Real.
My Reynolds pamphlet, like, that's what I called it.
You really called it your Reynolds pamphlet. That's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I published all of my thoughts about this one girl I had a crush on from September to November, and then my relationship started in December through May. Longest 4 months of my life, though. So I published that, and it goes over very poorly because it's every single thought I had. And it's like the thing where it's like normal thoughts I think people have when they have a crush on someone, but because it's like phrased in such a way and published after a relationship, it kind of like feels like just weird in general.
Yeah.
But I did become like a hot topic around the high school for a super long time there, like from May to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Longest 1 month of my life.
I need the fallout of my thing happened approximately like a month before the end of the school year, so I can relate to the longest month of my life.
So I'm going around, and then it becomes like a, how do you feel about the Nolan situation? How do you feel, you know? And I was called
the Nolan situation is crazy.
Yeah, the Nolan situation is sad.
Nolan went off the deep. Sorry, I just keep thinking of like clickbait. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so then, but that really played into my senior year, where so I mean, we're talking May to September, transition in August. It's like people don't really like trust or have like a frame, and it wasn't like I was super popular or well received before.
Oh yeah,
but I was still like kind of like quirky Minecrafter boy, like. I was like just beginning to find my crowd kind of. And then I entered a relationship with one of those people that I would be really close friends with, and then did that shit. And then it was really hard to kind of make friendships surrounding that.
No, I get that. No, and I think my favorite thing about that, like the story of how like we got found out, like how the group chat got leaked, is that the next year, I had a class with the person that had like sent screenshots, and it was a tiny class because I don't know if your high school did it, but my high school, because we have the 2 in town, we do the distance learning, where if not enough people sign up at one of the high schools to run a full class, you basically just get zoomed in to the other school. Yeah. We started doing it for like very specific classes, like classes that worked for. But my senior year, I had a class like that. It was called Social Justice: The Power of Choice and Voice. And it was actually really upsetting because from what I heard,
sounds like a ChatGPT title.
It was a real.
It can't be because it was so long ago, but that's like actually how ChatGPT formats
I know, right?
titles.
No, but it was a really. It could. I mean this in the kindest way possible to their Janesville School District. It could have been really good if the person who had proposed it was the one to teach it, because the person who proposed it, as far as I heard, this is all hearsay. But as far as she made it known to people, because she was also the head of the GSA for a little bit, so she was kind of in with the gay kids, was that she had proposed this class, but then because not enough people at our high school signed up for it, it got handed to the other teacher at the other class, right? Because she had a lot more people in person there. But what it ended up happening was that it was it was a very like surface level social justice class. It was a lot of like, I remember vividly that every Tuesday we had to watch a documentary, right? And the whole point was that we all, like every student, because we had enough students in the class that we could fill the whole year, because in our high school Tuesdays were extra long. We had 2 block days, so it was all 8 classes Monday, half your classes twice as long, half your classes twice as long, and then normal the rest of the week. So yeah, it works really well though, because it means that you have 3 days of 45-minute classes, and then you have 2 days where you have an hour and a half in each class.
Okay.
So
some of it is like just learning a little more, sometimes more work time. Teachers can kind of, Yeah,
teachers can kind of use that time all they want. And a lot of them ended up using it. That's a really good day to be like, okay, we're going to watch like this longer video. We're going to do this more in-depth lesson. We're going to go out and do that was when all the labs were for science classes. You know, it just kind of gave a little more flexibility in the school block. It worked out really well. But it meant that there was like 6 of us in this room that there were like 6 of us in this distance learning room, so I had to work with this other person, and over time I realized I was like, oh, like they're a much better friend to me now than like the other people I was hanging out with at the time were. And then the person that the person that had ratted me out and then became my friend during the social justice class, the person that they didn't like, that was like the original reason for why they had said, just stopped talking to me one day during my senior year. Like they just legitimately stopped. Like I just woke up one day and I was blocked. I was like, oh, cool. And this wasn't like out of the ordinary for them. Like just to wake up and just decide they didn't like someone anymore and to block them on everything. And apparently, from what I heard, I don't know if this is true, they were posting about me on like fucking for some reason. I don't know. I know like part of why I got blocked, and I don't really want to get into it because it's not because because it's a non-issue. It was something that wasn't an issue. It was like it was purely like social media drama.
Yeah.
So I was just okay, whatever. But I thought that was really interesting and I still talk to the person that ratted me out. They actually live like down the road from me. So or at least they did. They actually had to move recently. But yeah, I still chat with them on like Facebook Messenger and stuff sometimes, because I'm looking back, because they told me straight up that after that, all of the people that they had basically like thrown us under the bus for completely just stopped hanging out with them. Like they were like, oh, so now that I'm not friends with the people that like, now that I'm not friends with them, you don't want to talk to me anymore. Like after I just completely blew up my friend group for you guys. So that was all another whole thing. But that whole group was, to this day, I don't know who made that Instagram page, but the people who were friends with that group, I know had to have been, because these were the same people. Like it was one of those things. I never knew exactly who was being mean to me most of the time, because I got cyberbullied a lot. I got texts from random numbers. I got messages from like unnamed Facebook accounts, and a lot of people don't know that about me, that I got those. But like a lot of them still like stick in my head. Right. Like I remember that Instagram page being made and how upset having my like a photo where I felt beautiful being called ugly. Yeah. And I remember vividly one of the texts that I got, like there was one night that I was just getting texted over and over to like kill myself, that no one liked me. But I remember vividly that one of the texts I got was that the only thing that you're good for is opening your legs for your werewolf boyfriend and anyone else who will come along. Jeez. Because there was also a rumor that I slept with anyone. Like someone told me there was a rumor that I slept with anyone who would talk to me, which I thought was really funny, because until my junior year of high school, I wanted to be a virgin until marriage, even though I wasn't a super active Christian. And not to be gross, but to this day, I've only ever had sex with one man. Right. Like, sorry to the people that go to my church with me, but I guess you'll be happy to know that the one that I've been with for 8 years is the only one I ever plan on. Like, it's, you know, and that's it's those little things that like no one else will ever remember. Right. But that's why, like, when I talk about it, I always say the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. You've heard that, right? No? I heard that for the first time in high school, and it stuck in my brain, because it really stuck with me, because my mom is a recovering alcoholic. So a lot of stuff that she's done is very like axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Like I'll be like, oh, Mom, you did this, and she'll be like, I never did that. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, you might not remember it, but I do, because it affected me. But I also don't want to hold that against her, because I know, like I said, I love my mom. We have our own struggles between the two of us. Yeah. That's just how it goes. I don't think she listens to the podcast either. I don't think Ace, I know for sure Ace doesn't, but that's because he's like, he has analysis paralysis. He's like, where do I start? Therefore I can't. Genuinely, yes. Which is really funny. I'm like, Ace, what is this, episode 5? No, this will be 6. 6? Okay. Oh yeah, because I didn't forget the mini-sode. I forgot about my mini-sode. My mini-sode. Your even. Own. Yeah. I did that. I should travel to Minnesota for my mini-sode. Yeah. You're gonna have I remember you're gonna have at least 2 mini-sodes to yourself, because I have a church day camp coming up in August. So I'm gonna be there. Dang. Because I guess I could technically be here if I left early, but I work with the preschoolers. And our preschoolers don't leave until 11:30, which is after our to break the fourth wall. We record at 11 a.m. is when we plan on meeting here. Emphasis on plan on. Oh my god! Go on. Don't die. It's like I keep doing this to like reset it, and there's just one. It's okay. Go on. We reset. We close. We're good. What do? We record at 11. We close at 11. We close at 1:30. Somewhere thereabouts. We figure it out. No, I just think it's funny that I was finally like, oh yeah, Nolan is gonna have at least 2, because then I go on vacation at the end of August. Because I always go on vacation with my dad. Dennis and I go on a week-long vacation every year. Very cool. We have ever since I was a kid. We go up to the Dells. I love the Dells. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. I don't like downtown. I think we've talked about it on this topic. Yeah, I was like, I love the downtown Dells. I just hate the amount of like Rick and Morty weed stores. Like, it's See, I love all the. Do you know how many like ironic shirts I've bought from the shitty stores up in the like? So eventually, someday I will wear for the pod my my Among Us crop top that I made in like 2023.
Yeah.
Because it's just awful. I love awful like. I don't wear them much on like for the pod, but like I do love just awful random t-shirts. Because I constantly go Goodwill shopping. You can find some insane stuff at the Goodwill around here. I think my favorite shirt that I don't want to call it my favorite shirt because that sounds bad because it's not. I don't wear it like outside of the house, and you'll see why. Because it's a shirt that says Hurley Midgets on it still from when I think one of the someone somewhere had that is their like school mascot. So it's like so like the word midget is really nicely embroidered across the front. So I bought it and I only wear it to sleep.
Yeah.
Because like because it's one of those things that like I bought it and I was like, if anyone else around here buys this, they're just gonna wear it out.
Right.
Like
you're doing it for our protection.
I'm doing definitely wasn't just because I pulled it out and I genuinely went like, what? Like in the middle of Goodwill when I pulled because I was like how would that make it? Usually stuff like that doesn't make it to the sales floor. They try to pull it usually, but I'm guessing someone just didn't realize that midget isn't the word anymore.
Is it in like cursive?
No, it's in like big black like school
Arial black.
Well, like this, like you know, like the like school athletic font TM.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it's like orange. It's bright orange on a white shirt. No, it's insane. It was one of those things that like once I put it down, I walked away, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to put that in my cart just because of how it's like when you see those like Jesus is my savior and Trump is my president shirts.
And it's just a big long text.
Yeah, and you like and you need to buy it.
Yeah.
I want to buy Ace one of those shirts really bad that's like, don't mess with me. I'm an Aries who's married to a Taurus who will fight you. I love those. I know that they were like I was so mad that they actually became a trend because now when you wear them, people are like, oh, it's like cringy. And it's like, no, it's funny. It's always been funny and it always will be funny.
I like in the Dells, I like Native Son.
Yeah.
You know one? They had this set of like 5 Thomas the Tank Engine trees and I really wanted it. They had them for sale as they look like they were from the 90s.
Oh, I'm certain they were.
And
there's so much dead stock
I saw them
up there.
every single year until about 2017, and I'm like, this year I'm gonna buy them. Like, what are they like $10? I can do it. And I come in and I can't find them, and I'm like, do you have those little like Thomas the Tank Engine trees? And they're like, oh, sorry, we just sold them last month. And I'm like, because it was like every time I was in that store, I saw them every single time. And like I looked them up, they're not like worth anything. I just like wanted them because it's like that item you always see.
No, I get it.
And then it was gone.
I think part of my problem, I think part of the reason why I do love the Dells, like all the shitty shirts in downtown Dells so much, is that ever since I turned 21, or even before that, because, you know, drinking laws in Wisconsin, and, you know, here in Wisconsin, Gamer Co, New Mexico, where you can have an alcoholic drink as long as your parent is the one that is okay with it and gives it to you. For a very long time now, my dad and I's MO has no longer been to go to we used to go to a water park in the Dells every year, but then that water park got bought out and like semi shut down. It just kind of sucks now. So we don't go there anymore. We stay in a hotel that's like just off downtown. The View, not sponsored, but God, I wish. I love that hotel. I really do. It's really pretty. It's right on the river. Like it's right by the river walk. So we always get riverside with a balcony. So Ace and I can just kind of, you know, sit out there and you can watch the sunset over the Wisconsin River. And it's like after one of the main curves, so you can really see like the Dells, like that, like it's there's so many tour boats that go through there, but it's so pretty. And we like it because it's walking distance of the Dells. So my dad and I day drank the entire time we are up there. We are bar hopping. We walk down and I don't mean that in like we're walking around like stumbling, whatever. But I mean, we wake up and we go out for breakfast at like 10 and then we come back. And then every time we walk past a bar, we usually go in and have at least one drink, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize how many bars there are up there.
Totally.
But it's a lot of fun. And like, and we give ourselves enough time to like, we don't get even like, I don't get buzzed even really. Like my dad does because he's, you know, allowed to because he's the one paying. So he can do whatever he damn well pleases. But I choose to not. But I do.
You keep it modest.
Yeah, but that's because, like I said, I don't really like drinking all that much. It's just not fun. I don't think the after effects of drinking are worth how feeling drunk is. Like, but I also like, I'm not a huge fan of being drunk or being around other drunk people. So maybe that's probably most of it, honestly. It's just that I don't really like other drunk people, so I don't like going out to bars. But I also don't like drinking alone because that like feels weird.
Totally.
Yeah. So I drink like at home with friends almost exclusively, and that, or like I said, one nice tasty drink while I'm out. Love me a strawberry marg. If I go to a restaurant and there's a strawberry margarita option, I am almost certainly going to order that that's because it's like
strawberry lemonade for adults.
Exactly. It's like strawberry lemonade, but it has a little bit of tequila in it. So afterwards, you're like, I feel really good. But you can't drink more than one because then you're like, oh, I feel like I've been drinking tequila. And that's not fun. I know you all. I'm so glad that I can teach you all of this while you're underage.
I'll take notes.
Yeah.
Despicable Me 4.
Yeah, how was Despicable Me 4?
Talk about it.
Do we? Okay, how was Despicable Me 4? Official thumbs down from Nolan.
Official slanted fingers thumbs down.
Damn.
It was like the minions were really funny. Wait, I think I texted you this.
But I think you did, yeah.
The minions,
that was all you said about it, pretty much.
The minions had like they weren't just like slapping each other and saying banana. Like they had like really like fundamental like good comedy in their scenes. But then the Gru scenes were just weird. Like he was no longer like this badass that like cares for his family. He was just stupid and dumb, and they made him like Thor in Love and Thunder.
Oh, they flanderized him.
They flanderized him, and they made these like weird stakes where it's like Ramsbottom is like, Gru, you're always awkward, and he's like, I'm not awkward, and he's like having these social interactions, and he's like making it awkward, and like as an audience, what are we supposed to be like? Oh no, Gru's being awkward, like he always is. And then like,
he's not awkward. He's just Eastern European. Leave him alone.
Skip to the next chapter if you don't want spoilers. But trust me, you're not missing much.
Spoilers from Despicable Me 4.
They had these like arcs ready for Margot and Agnes. Nothing for Edith. I guess fuck Edith.
Fuck Edith.
Margot had like, because they had to. You're not planning on watching it, right? No. Margot. So they had because the villain found out. Because the villain escaped. Villain containment prison, maybe. I don't know if they call
Arkham
it that.
Asylum.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum. So then they have to move to a anti-villain league safe house and go under new identities. So that also means that the girls have to go to a different school for like an undefined amount of time. So Margot is afraid of like not fitting in and like not being around her friends.
This feels like Incredibles 2, but worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Margot has like a scene where initially she's like doesn't want to, and then she gets picked up from school, and like she's like, there was a glitter bomb in my locker, and it's like a whole thing. And so you're expecting a resolution of like her finding a friend group and, you know, being all right with it, but then also accepting that she can have friends here and then also where she goes to school normally. She just never got like a resolution scene. She gets a glitter bomb. She's
getting
and, like,
bullied.
That's it. Yeah.
Sucks.
And then Agnes has an arc where she doesn't want to lie about her fake name. She's supposed to go under the name Brittany. So her and Edith are in a karate class, and they're like, "What is your name?" And then she like doesn't want to say her fake name, but she also knows she can't say her real name, so she kind of just says nothing, and then she gets like put in timeout corner for saying nothing, and so then Edith stands up for her. It's a whole thing. Or, well, I guess there's the first scene where Gru says, like, you have to lie. You have to say your name is Brittany. And so she's uncomfortable with that. And so then what I just described was the second scene, the karate scene. Again, no resolution or no even, like, word from Gru at the end of the movie. Like, I'm sorry for making you lie. You don't have to lie, you know. Like,
you just have to. You're just upset for the movie, and now you don't have to be because now it's all fixed.
And so there's no resolution for either of their arcs. Lucy just has, like, one scene where her like just like double life job is as a hairdresser, and so she like someone wants like this really fancy haircut that she can't do, so she like burns their hair, and then she has a scene where that same lady finds her in the supermarket and is like chasing her down, but then they escape. And again, like no like resolution, like these. And my brother described it well. We were sitting and watching it, and he's like, everything is just moving in these weird like 10-minute like shorts, and it feels like I'm on YouTube just like playing a playlist of Despicable Me shorts. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
yeah, and it's just really bad. And the minions were like kind of funny, but like the plot as a whole was just bad. Like it would have functioned better as a Minions movie with like Gru scenes.
I think that's probably what they wanted to do, but they know that they need to capitalize on the Despicable Me branding because they're like, well, people are sick of Minions. Because now Minions are just associated with like boomer Facebook memes by like with that and like small children.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, and then I have a story. So yeah, but the movie's not great. Don't check it out. But
you're gonna get sued just for you saying that. No sponsors, only lawsuits.
I work at the movie theater at AMC theaters, and so we get the popcorn buckets, we get all that shit. And so for Despicable Me, we did something similar to what we do for Garfield, where we get a little kid's popcorn bucket, a larger than what would be like a kid's drink, but it's like a little that size cup.
Yeah.
You get a plushie with it and a cup topper. And so for Garfield, it was just baby Garfield, adult Garfield, and Odie. For this one, they decided they're going to do all of the Mega Minions.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like 5 Minions, and their names aren't super like established in the movie, but they do technically have names. So I'm like, maybe if some kid's going to come up and say they want Mega Jerry, it'd be nice to know. And so what we did in the past with these cup toppers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem and Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, where we had little cheat sheets.
I was going to say, I'm sure you had like just
little
who's
cheat
who.
Sheets. So it's like the pink one is this one, and like each turtle. And so one person did the same for both of them, like the same cheat sheet idea for both, you know. And again, it's like less prevalent with the Minions. Like the kids aren't coming out of the movie or coming in knowing
like,
their
I want
exact
the
names.
Jerry one.
Exactly. It's more about like I want the one.
I want the one with 2 eyes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want the one with 1 eye. I want the purple one.
So, but I still decided it would be kind of fun to have the cheat sheets up again.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So I did all the research and I figured out Mega Mel, Mega Tim, Mega Jerry, Mega Gus, and Mega Dave. And so I write out little code names. It's like, okay, so the one with the lasers, Mega Mel, and I do all of that. And it's going pretty well. And again, the kids don't know. I can't stress enough. The kids don't know the Minion names. But as I'm selling Despicable Me combos that day, I'm going like, all right, here's Mega Dave and here's Mega Jerry for you. And it's just kind of fun. It's fun to know their names.
Oh, yeah.
So we're switching shifts and the night people are coming in. And I'm telling one of them, I'm like, oh, and I wrote down all the Minion names because you got to know their names. And the other person looks at me and they're a crew leader. And they go, it's supposed to be random. And like, that's it. And I'm like, and so like, I don't really know how to handle the situation. So I'm like turning to the person again. I'm like, oh yeah, but like, you got to know their names.
Yeah. It's just that know is like the employee. It's so do they not want you to have like, merchandise knowledge? Like I'm coming from a retail background. So maybe I'm like, but I remember like, I worked at Cracker Barrel. Like they wrote, there was so much that as retail people, we were supposed to know like about every display. It sucked.
But anyway. So
that's insane. That's just that just that like
have no fun, stare at me and go, it's supposed to be random.
No, that might, and especially because you didn't even say like, oh, this way like kids can ask for it. It's just like you just straight up were like, yeah, just so that we know the names.
And like even if it is supposed to be random, like okay, well then, and then I forgot the most important detail. The person who said that to me was the one who made the cheat sheets for Paw Patrol and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, so which I would assume were probably equally supposed to be random in that way.
Maybe that's why they said something is because they got talked to about it.
Definitely not.
No, okay.
I can definitely not.
That's just where my brain goes because I was one of the people that would do stuff like that and then would have to stop other people from doing it. And they'd be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "I got yelled at."
But anyway, I come in the next day and I peep over the counter and they threw away my cheat sheets.
How dare they?
They threw away my fucking cheat sheets. And I wasn't gonna tell the story on the podcast, but every person I tell it to gets such an insane reaction out of it. I just had to.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Why would they throw away your? It's just for fun.
It's just for fun.
Allowed. No fun allowed at Nolan's
theaters.
AMC theater specifically.
Yeah, and it just made me mad.
I just don't.
I'm so upset.
I mean, I guess if they were like, well, we can't have clutter back there, but just like tape it.
It was taped. Yeah, they were taped down 1, 2, 3, 4 little ones in between. Like 2 pairs of registers. Didn't take up any space. It was like perfectly fine. Again, just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just like Paw Patrol. Stupid.
I don't know. I think maybe they were just mad because they were like, well, no one's even gonna like. There's no point because no one's even gonna ask for the specific ones. But even then, like kids are going to ask for specific minions. Like they're not gonna say the name, but they're gonna be like. So they're. I'm sure that like honestly, the parents probably appreciate you actually saying the name because I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are like, Jerry. Okay, Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then it kind of
because I know
if the kid buys the minion before the movie, and then I say, "Here's Mega Jerry," they go, "Huh, Mega Jerry," and then they're paying attention to that minion in the movie, and they know the name. They're like, "My Mega Jerry, there's Mega Jerry."
It was like
it's more fun.
I'm being so for real.
We make
with
movies
you.
better.
I was gonna say I'm being so for real. With you. You're probably doing it the intended way compared to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Corporate would probably love to hear that you are referring to each of them by name as you set them down.
Because that's that like above and beyond shit.
Exactly, and it's also
so
about
be such a grouch about it. Throw away my sheets. Come at me. Ugh, makes me mad.
No, yeah, I think it's so funny because Cracker Barrel, the way that like their stock works in the gift store and the gift shop, a lot of it's just like kind of recycled every year. Because people expect certain stuff. They expect we don't change like the themes of the displays very often. Usually the only change like there's minor changes that you want to buy the one from this year, right? Or there's the stuff that we have every year, like Cracker Barrel every year sells out of these I want to say they're acrylic ghosts and witches that like because they blew up in like 2021. They got really popular on Pinterest. So it was so bad that people would call us like because Cracker Barrel gets the first of their Halloween merch in June. I went and bought Halloween stuff last week like from Cracker Barrel. Because they start their Christmas because the first Christmas tree goes up late August or late July, early August. So you have to start Halloween and Thanksgiving early. Yeah. So, but what happens is as soon as that goes up every year, at least when I was there, I don't know if it's still the case because it seems like it's died down a lot, probably because people have been able to buy them. But people would call and be like, "Do you have the ghost? Do you have the witch?" Because it's like this. It's a ghost that's like it looks like it's blowing. I'll show you a picture sometime because I have it. Like I had it up as part of my decorations last year, but it's a ghost that's like holding a lantern, right? And it's just a little like 16-inch high acrylic ghost holding a lantern. It looks great on my mantle every year, and they have a witch version that's very similar where it's not like a whole ghost. It looks like the acrylic is shaped in a way that it looks like it's fabric wrapped around something. Like it's really nice. It is a really nice piece of decor. And we have it, and they had it in like small ones, and now they have them in like 3-foot size ones for outside. Right. They have the witches too. Like it's a whole thing. But people would call and be like, "Do you have the ghosts?" And we'd have to be like, "We are not allowed to tell you," because they were so sought after that people would call and they'd be like, "Well, can I place one on hold?" And we're like, "No, we can't hold on to it for you. It just first come, first serve." Yeah. Because people would show, like, it was worse than Squishmallows. Because we also got a lot of exclusive Squishmallows. Like Cracker Barrel, we didn't get the big ones, right? We don't get, like, the big, nice ones. But we do get up to the, like, nice, like, 12-inch ones. Like, the fairly big, like, or 18-inch or whatever the in-between is. Between the, like, small ones and the giant ones. So, but we used to get, like, the Hello Kitty ones in a lot. So, and we would get, like, the crossover ones a lot. Because they would just want to send them to Cracker Barrel because it's a gift store. We got the more interesting stuff we have, the more we sell. But it was so weird having people calling Cracker Barrel like as soon as we opened because they knew that our truck came on Wednesdays. Whoa. Yeah. So they would call as soon as we opened on Thursday and be like, "Did you guys put this stuff out yet?" "No." "Well, can I come and get it if you have it?" "I don't even know if we have it. They just unpacked the truck." Like, because when I say, like, unpack the truck, I don't even mean putting it on the floor yet. Well, no, I guess the truck came on Tuesday. We put it on the floor on Wednesday. And then that was when people started showing up, was Wednesday night. Because they knew that there would be, we had what was called visual merchandising, where it was, like, 5 people that just came in with what all the stands were supposed to look like this week. And we would just spread out and put everything out. And most of the time we had to completely wing it because like 3/4 of the stuff didn't actually get sent to us that we ordered. Because it's so fun working for national corporations. Yeah. It's so much fun. I say like I'm not actively going to be working technically for the government next year. Wow. Because I'm going to be substitute teaching. Call me Jerma the way I'll be Yeah. I hope I have the Jerma rise to fame where everyone just thinks I'm fucking insane. Yeah.
Did you see that clip where he was playing Elden Ring like he was in the 30s?
Yes.
And they say they're going to be flying on planes like a bird? That's
I love
that's
Jerma.
folly.
I love Jerma so much. I think my favorite clip, like all of my favorite clips of him are of him just making insane noises.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the giant enemy spider.
Yeah, giant enemy spider.
And he's doing that sick beatbox mashup of like Pokemon themes, and it's like, dude, it's so insane that he used to be a substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want people to react to me being a substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that we get YouTube famous, and then people are like, oh, like, what did they do before? And they're like, well, Nolan, like, was in college dressed as like a substitute teacher, like, for a while. Like, she was really figuring it out at first.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that'd be really funny lore.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, then maybe Jerma will talk to me. Jerma 985, if you're listening to this, as we know you are.
In your retirement.
Yeah.
In your off hours at Off Brand.
Yeah. Please join. Please come on our podcast. If you come, please, I will. You know who? I'm not even that bad about Jerma. You know who's really bad about Jerma? My friend Jess. There's actually like she's like, I don't want to say she's like known in Jerma's chat, but she's very active there. Because she's always there when he was live. And I think my favorite is there, like somewhere. I don't know if you've seen the clip where someone was talking about syncing their breathing with Jerma's.
No, it doesn't.
It got kind of big for a little bit. That was Jess. That like said that comment. She was. I don't remember what game he was playing, but he was playing something, and she was like, "I'm so into this. I'm syncing my breathing with yours." And he was like, "What the fuck? What does that mean?"
I like the clip. The clip where someone says, "Can you turn the game down? I'm trying to sleep." It's like, turn the stream down.
No, can you turn Jerma, please can you turn the game down? I'm trying to go to bed. Yeah. That's how I feel when I'm like in the chat of like my friends' streams, and it's like just me and like one other person, and I'm like, can you turn it down? I'm trying to brush my teeth while I'm watching this.
Just a little too loud. Turn your limiter down.
I think my favorite was when one of my friends Ghost used to stream, and I used to watch them stream Diablo 2, and it was like really late at night. It was just like me and a couple of like their internet friends and all that, and it was just me and their chat being like, "You suck, you're awful.
Why am I even watching?
Why am I watching? Awful gameplay." And like every time they did something, I'd be like, "You should have done this." And they actually just texted me the other day because I hadn't talked to them for a while, and they texted me the other day. They were like, "Hey, just checking in. Haven't thought about you. We need to catch up." And I was in the middle of bingo, so I was like, "I'm at bingo."
Oh, 72.
I was like, "I'm at bingo right now, but thank you. I love you." Like, because I love that. That's one thing about like adulthood that I've gotten used to is like the idea of having friendships that I don't see every day. Or even like I don't talk like Jess, I was just talking about she lives in like a while away, like, well, not too far, she lives like 30 minutes away from here. But she doesn't live by like any of my other friends really, like unlike most of my other friends live like, you know, in the same few cities, but so I just don't get out to see her very often because she's busy, I'm busy. She works for the Humane Society in her city, so she's always like she keeps sending me pictures of those dogs. I want to adopt some of those dogs so bad. But like but she's still my best friend. She's still one of my best friends in the whole world. We're still so similar. Every time we hang out, like, because she can't, like, even when we do make plans, she can't always make it. But it's one of those things where, like, even though she can't make it, I know she's not, like, blowing me off. And I also recognize that, like, we don't need to talk all the time to be friends. I'm perfectly fine with, like, if I had to get married tomorrow, I would still have Jess be like one of my bridesmaids, even though I don't talk to her all that often. I would still have my one of my high school best friends, Claire. I would absolutely ask them. I'd be like, "Hey, I know we haven't really talked since you moved, because they graduated early and moved to go to college." And I was like, "I know you like moved already and stuff, but I'd still like to have you in my wedding, like as well, I guess be a bridesperson, because I have too many queer people to have like bridesmaids. It's all my bridal party."
Yeah.
That's technically what it's called. Well, because it's also like, I don't know. It's weird. I have to think a lot. Like, this is going to sound bad. I think a lot about weddings because I've been in a relationship for so long. So, like, in my brain, I already have, like, a loose outline of what I want my wedding to look like. Especially now that, like, I'm old enough and I'm far enough into the relationship that people are genuinely confused about why Ace and I aren't married yet. And I have to be like, we're poor.
Right.
And getting married is expensive. And I'm like, because now we always told people it was like, oh, until, you know, I'm finishing school, but I'm done with school.
Yeah.
So like we went to, I don't know if I told the story last week, but when we went to we went to visit Ace's dad, and he like sat down, and like some of the first words out of his mouth are like, "Oh, so when are you guys having kids?" And we're like, and they're like, "Well, you're waiting," and he was like, "You're waiting for Jessi to finish school, right? Like that was a good time." And I'm like, I mean, is it technically a good time? Actually, yeah, it would be a good time. But is it a good time? No.
Right.
Like, is it a good time? Like
in the timeline, yeah.
In the timeline of my life, this would be a very good time because, you know, I'm not working yet. I haven't started my career yet. I finished my degree. Like, I realistically, if I wanted to step back and like really be like, okay, I'll be like a stay-at-home mom, this would be the time to do it, right? Like before I want to go back to substitute teaching. But the thing about it is, like, first of all, that would drive me insane. Yeah. Because I'm already going insane, not working full time. But also just like, I don't want to commit to kids with someone that I'm not committed to marriage with, if that makes sense. Even though I've been with Ace for as long as I have been, like, I don't think if we had kids, Ace would leave me. You know what I mean? Like, obviously not. We are in our mid-20s. It's fine. But I feel weird about how many people, like, I don't want this to sound judgy at all. I feel weird about people who will have a kid with someone that they won't marry.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I don't mean that in a, like, I don't think marriage is important way. I mean in a one of you wants to get married and the other one doesn't way. Because I've seen that a lot.
Right.
I have seen a lot of people who are like, well, I wouldn't get married to them, but I'll have a kid with them. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? One of those is significantly more binding than the other. And and if you don't want to get married to them, why would you want someone else to raise them or help you raise them? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I'm like, I want to keep that order of like together forever, married, then kids, because it feels like, at least, you know, if something happens, we have a lot more, I don't want to say like a lot more protections, but it's also like, it's just, I just feel weird about it. Yeah. But it's also because a lot of people in my family like have kids first and then end up breaking up. And then I watch their kid grow up without one of the two parents. And I'm like, yeah. And I
don't want to follow that cycle.
Yeah.
And Ace, if this is your first episode you picked, hey.
Ace, if this is the first episode you picked, take this as a warning. No, him and I have talked about this a lot. Like,
yeah, sure.
Because in his family, I don't want to be too specific because it's not my family, but a lot of them just don't really do the whole marriage thing, and that's fine. Yeah. Like, or some of them do it a lot, and some of them don't, and it's fine. Because either way, whatever you're happy with, whatever you can afford, whatever you want, you're like, whatever. I don't care. For me personally, I would just always rather be married before I had a kid with someone. Sure. But I also, like, my mom had her first kid at 16, or she got pregnant at 15, had him at 16. That's my older brother. So she also very much drilled into me, like, make sure if you're gonna have a kid with someone that you're sure, because I think the first time she had talked to my brother's dad in like 20 years was his wedding this last year. Right. I can't like say that for sure because I have no clue. Realistically, I met him at my brother's wedding. I'd never met my brother's dad before that day. So that was also weird though, which is all of a sudden actually getting to meet like the guy that I had heard a lot about, but nothing definitive. Right. Because it wasn't my business. It's not my dad. And it was way before I was ever around. Because my mom had a whole ass husband in between my brother's dad and my dad that she didn't have a kid with. Right. So, but yeah, that's just where I'm at with that. Is everyone's like, when are you having kids? I'm like, oh, after we get married. When are you getting married? When we can afford it. Because right now we could not. It's so expensive. Yeah. Unless we want to elope and have a reception later. But I don't want to do that. Because I want the attention on me. It's my day. It's my wedding. I'm the bride.
Everything's damn expensive right now. We need to hit recession already.
Well, if Kesha's music is any fucking indicator, we're heading straight in. There's gonna be time for you to buy a house, Nolan. You need to buy a house now, or else you're never going to be able to.
Honestly, yeah.
We cannot make the same mistake we did in 2008 by being in elementary school. Or I guess you weren't even in elementary school yet. You were in preschool.
08? Yeah.
Yeah, I was in elementary school.
In preschool, yeah.
I remember the recession hitting.
I remember seeing on the news that Greece was getting hit pretty hard. That's all I remember.
No, yeah.
We actually bought our house in like 2007.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys profited.
Dodged a bullet. Yeah.
See, my parents got divorced in 2006, and my dad lost their marital home in 2008. So, Well, that's because he wasn't living there at the time. He was. We were living at that point. We were already living with my grandma and my grandpa. He was renting out that house to some friends, and then they stopped living there after a while, and then he just couldn't. With how much the bank wanted, because they hadn't paid off the house before they got divorced. So like, the problem was that it was they were like, okay, it's gonna be cheaper for you to foreclose. And my dad was like, okay, so he foreclosed, and then they put a whole new roof on the house, and charged him for it, which because it was 2008 cost about as much as they had bought the house for.
Yeah.
So it was insane. Like my dad's still paying off that house, and we haven't lived in it in however many years.
That's sad.
It's just the reality of debt, dude. That's true for most of our parents. You're like you guys lucked out.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
But it also didn't help that like I said, it also didn't help that like my parents got divorced, so it was only one income trying to cover this mortgage, and the mortgage went way up suddenly, and then his friend wasn't renting it out anymore because they moved away because all of the job like we were a production town, so a lot of stuff like I remember how many people moved in 2008. Like I lost a lot of my friends moved out of town, especially because that was the same year that the big production plant in town closed, which took, I'm not even kidding, I think 70% of Neal's jobs with it. Yeah,
it's okay.
We've already said it once.
Premiere Pro, press M to mark this moment and put a bleep over someone's mouth.
There we go. One of these, maybe if we actually do start using that Patreon, we'll be able to hire an editor who could actually.
No, I've got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
You sure?
I've got it.
I believe in you. That wasn't me knocking your skills. That was me just trying to take something off your plate.
Yeah.
Because I love you and you're my friend.
I have $2,700 in medical debt.
I actually have no debt.
On the topic of debt.
I graduated debt free.
Nice.
I paid all of my tuition out of pocket, between out of pocket and scholarships, which makes me sound really rich. I promise I'm not. I just saved a lot of money, and I started working a month after I turned 16, and I was serving at Cracker Barrel
for federal minimum wage.
Not even for $2.13 an hour.
Federal tipping wage.
Yeah, but
federal minimum tipping wage.
Yeah. And Cracker Barrel average for tips is about 10% of sales, which isn't a lot.
Right.
Because we don't have we don't sell, because that was before we even sold alcohol.
Wow.
Because we only started selling alcohol in the last couple of years. I keep saying we like I still work there. I haven't worked there. It's because Ace still works there. So I'm like, so my brain, I'm like, yeah, I'm still there. And
you never leave the company, like your first job. You're always part of the headspace.
Oh yeah, especially because I'm still friends with all of them on Facebook, except for the ones that unfriended me.
Yeah.
No, but.
Not to have Cracker Barrel hour again.
Yeah. No, but I was just like shoveling money into my savings, and like every birthday, whatever, I was shoveling more money in, and it helps that I don't have to pay any bills, right? The only bills I pay are the subscription services that I willingly sign up for.
Right.
My dad pays my phone bill. My grandma pays the rest of my bills because I live with her, like, whatever. And I acknowledge that's why I was able to graduate debt free, because I also I didn't move into dorms. I stayed at home. I was able to drive to class every day because I had a school nearby that had my major. Like I very much won the graduating college lottery, and then I got a liberal studies degree with that lottery that I'm now going to use to teach your children.
Let me check my topics list.
You have a topics list?
Yeah,
I love that.
I was sitting down in the shower today.
I love how often you think about our podcast in the shower. It's a really good place,
especially morning of. Yeah. Oh yeah, this weekend I was working concessions, and a little boy goes, "Why does he look like a girl?" And I kind of like that though. No, because I'm getting to a point where, especially I'm learning on dating apps, that I'm like in pictures, at least until I speak or move, I'm like 100% passing.
Yeah.
In dating apps, like I didn't mention it before because I thought it was a given, but I'm learning now that that like people don't suspect a thing. No. Which is weird. And now it's like kind of a thing I feel like I have to disclose at least before we like meet up or something.
As long as you're safe about it.
Totally.
You just have to be careful, because not all people react to news, especially around here. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
But you also run into like the opposite problem of like you can't be too open about it.
Because then there's like people who are specifically looking for that.
Yeah, because then you get chasers. Yeah. And it's like,
yeah.
That's the Dylan Mulvaney problem again. Dylan, no, Dylan.
I'm only interested in women at least, so I feel like that's less prevalent. But then it can also be like a safety thing if they thought they were meeting another woman, and then I'm like, actually, you know.
Yeah, but you are a woman. But
Yeah,
of
course.
But I get what you mean.
But it's still the prospect of like
in before the Nolan T4T arc. I know it's coming, and I'm just waiting for it.
No, okay. Did I have anything else on transgenderism? I don't think so.
Did you say, do I have anything else on transgenderism?
Yeah, I don't think I did.
The transgenders.
Yeah. It's interesting though.
I'm so glad I don't have to. I mean this supportively. I'm so glad I don't have to like date around in 2024. That sounds exhausting, especially being like, I had to like remind my friend of this once. I was like, you have to realize I've never like dated around.
Yeah.
Ace and I got into a relationship before the word situationship was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's. I feel I struggle really hard to like talk to people about dating on dating apps and stuff because I'm like,
you're like, I don't know.
All of my dating like
Swipe right.
Yeah, I'm like all of my dating experience is with Ace. Mm-hmm. I've been in one long-term relationship since I was 14 and I'm 23. Mm-hmm. Like it's so I don't know. It's so I have so much sympathy for everyone that has to date, but I have no clue how dating works. If Ace and I broke up, I don't know how to meet people.
Yeah.
Like
it's tough.
Especially because I'm not going to be in college anymore. Like, so I lost my, because the one place I knew where to meet people was school.
Yeah.
I don't have school anymore. Unless I want to be weird. I keep going to college parties because I get older, but all the girls stay the same age.
Yeah.
I saw someone say that unironically.
Yuck.
In a TikTok today. Yeah, they were like, I like going to college parties because I only date women that are 20 to 24. And he was like a 35-year-old man. I was like, ugh, why do you only want to date women 20 to 24?
Gross.
Is it because women your own age don't want you? Yeah.
Yeah. And then meeting people IRL is really tough because, I don't know, when you
there's no like third spaces either. Like it's really hard.
Yeah. When you both swipe right on a dating app, there's that mutual of like, at least we are both interested in each other, but in person it's much harder where it's like, well, I'm into this person. I don't really know if they're into me. It's kind of like a forbidden topic to be like, are you romantically interested in me?
I think we need to just make it a thing that we can just look at people and be like, are you attracted to me sexually? Do you have a romantic interest in me? Are you interested in a relationship?
I wish.
Or we could do I don't know, I guess we could do a birds do and just do like a cool dance about it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I mean, that's basically what going to the club is, I guess. Is just doing a cool dance about it, putting on your flashy clothes, you know. See, that's how you can tell I've been in a relationship since I was 14, because I talk about fucking dating like it's a mating ritual. Katie Heron did not, in fact, think like that because she was in Africa for so long. She thought like that because she'd never had a boyfriend before, and when you go long enough without dating, you just kind of start relating it to the animal kingdom.
Totally.
Because it's all you really have reference for.
Mm. Yeah, it's tough. And then, like, I hate... in my experience in like high school relationships, it's like this weird thing where like I feel like the other people like aren't willing to like make it through situations as much, and I wish it was more common to like not be so like, well, fuck this, I can find someone better. And like, not that
I feel like when you're young it's kind of what you do.
Yeah. But with you and Ace, I feel like you probably you've had some tough times.
We broke up for 8 hours.
Right. Sure. but like there's that willingness to like make it through it that I've never really experienced with anyone. And I feel like the second things get a little bumpy, my two relationships have just been weird.
I seriously lucked out with Ace. This is a good episode for Ace to watch because I'm about to talk about how much I love him. Because Ace is one of the most like patient men. Like he takes such good care of me. Like because he and I had a lot of issues because this is gonna sound insane because I just said I've been dating Ace since I was 14, but the relationship I was in before Ace, not the one right before, but the one even before that, I got cheated on. And then the relationship I had after that was with a guy who talked a lot about his ex-girlfriend because he dated me in between dating his ex-girlfriend, and then he got back with her after we broke up.
Right.
And then they dated for a couple of years after that. And it's like, so when Ace and I got together, I was like really insecure and I had a lot of jealousy issues. And that was what we broke up over, was that I had a lot of issues because Ace is one of those guys that just always hangs out with women. Mm-hmm. He gets along, he was raised by women. He gets along really well with women. Like he just always has. And my like 15-year-old brain that had been cheated on and then like had spent an entire relationship with someone who spent a lot, even though I wasn't directly compared and he didn't mean it in a like comparative way, he still talked about her a lot to me. Yeah. Like it was a lot of like my ex-girlfriend, like when we were together, this, and it's like, and it was one of those things where we were only together for a month, so it wasn't that weird, but it was still like it made me wary going into my next relationship. And so that was what like Ace and I had a lot of issues with. But Ace was the one that broke up with me because he was so like tired of it. But he was also the one that came to me the next day and was like, I really thought about it after. And he was like, he's like, breaking up with you isn't going to help with any of these issues for you. And he's like, and I'm not, and he like made sure to specify, he's like, I'm not with you because I think you're broken. I'm with you because I think that this won't help, he's like, I'm with you because I want to be with you and I recognize that we could make it work. And he said that to me at 16.
Yeah.
Or I guess at this point we were 15 and 17 because it was I remember because it was exactly 9 months and 9 days into our relationship that this happened. Because I thought it was funny. Yeah. That it was like a nice round number like that. So it just like stuck. And now we celebrate our breakup anniversary sometimes which is basically just we just have an excuse to go out for dinner again. But it's like that. And now like Ace has been I've been in like a really rough place mentally, not working and freshly graduated. Like I'm going through my quarter life crisis. Oh. I'm gonna be so real with you guys. This podcast is part of it. But it's a good part of it. It's like when your dad, like, yeah, he gets like a girlfriend that's your age, but he also gets that cool motorcycle. Yeah.
Right.
No, but my dad didn't go through a midlife crisis like that, which is really funny. He got a black belt and tattoos. That was my dad's midlife crisis. It was sick. No, but he's been like so patient with me about like I've been like really emotionally I've been on like a hairpin trigger, and he's like very much been good about that. And about like the 5 love languages.
Sure, yeah.
I don't think I've ever met someone with a more intense acts of service love language than Ace. Because he is constantly, like, my water bottle. I think I could count on, like, 2 hands the amount of times I've refilled it. I can count on 1 hand the amount of times I've refilled it in the last week. Because Ace is always like, oh, do you need a water bottle? Do you want, like, a bowl of chips? Do you need anything? He just, like, stands up and goes, like, do you need anything? I'm going to go to the kitchen. And he doesn't have anything else he needs to do. He just wants to do something for me. Or, like, we'll, like, be in the shower together and he just wants to, like, wash my hair. And it's just so, it's so nice to have like someone that just wants to take care of me, because I always take care of other people. Like I take care of my grandma. For a long time I took care of Ace, because there was a long time where he wasn't working and he just couldn't find a job. We were trying so hard, but it's really difficult around here to find jobs that aren't production and also aren't kitchen work. And he can't do either because he has like heat tolerance issues. And he has a lot of like bone and joint issues. So he can't like work on the line at a factory, but he also can't work like on a grill line because he overheats and he gets sick and he passes out. He has some of the worst vertigo when he gets hot. Like it's awful. He just can't work in a kitchen. He's done it, but he doesn't like it. Right. So I was keeping him afloat for a couple of years, and I don't mind. I really don't. Everyone was always like, oh, he's like a bum. No, he takes like, no. Yeah. Because he was there for me in so many ways that like no one else could ever feasibly be there. Yeah,
there's a yin yang to it.
Yeah. And now that he's not working nearly as much as I was, but we're making it. I've budgeted it so it works perfectly fine for us, you know. And now that he's doing, like, he's our main financial support now, like he's our breadwinner between the two of us, for lack of a better term. He still has this like deep want to care for me, which I think is really nice, because I was really scared that if I wasn't taking care of him, that'd be it. Like, because I always take care of people. That's just what I do. I have anxiety and I love all of my friends and my family, so I so I need to worry about them, because who else will? Yeah. But it's like, and it's nice that Ace like sees that, recognizes it, and is willing to, like, even though he can't like do a lot of things that people expect him to do as my boyfriend because of like the financial constraints, he does so much more than anyone could ever, like, I could ever ask of anyone. And so I like, what I talk about Ace, I don't talk about like, oh, if we get married, if we have kids, I want to marry him and I want to have kids. I would love to have Ace raise my children because if he's as loving with me and how annoying I am, because I'm the worst. Like I'm going to be so real with you guys. I'm a really annoying girlfriend. I call Ace every day and he comes over like the moment he wakes up. He hangs out with me until I fall asleep because I get sad if he leaves.
Right.
Like, he doesn't really like, and this sounds bad, like when you lay it all out, but it's all like stuff that slowly happened over the years because it's just how we like existing together. We love being like Ace and I spend all of our time together because we love being together. The only reason I joked to him that the only reason he hasn't shown up on the podcast yet is because he isn't allowed on the property because he isn't a student or an alumni to be able to use this. We
should talk to the big man and get like some sort of forum going.
We could do it
where it becomes like our responsibility if something bad happens.
I think it's just because they don't want to invite too many people, but I think we might. I mean, we could always we have the technology to call people in.
True.
Maybe we should do that.
That sounds lame AF though.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound bad though. We heard during the semester there were other people that used it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I just, how do we get here? How do we get to me just loving
about dating apps?
Yeah, dating apps, and then it goes into me lovingly proclaiming how much I adore my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't get. I talk about him a lot, but I don't talk about like that concretely. I don't think a lot. It's a lot of like, oh, we did this, but it's not a lot of like, oh yeah, Ace and I have like been together forever, and we genuinely really enjoy each other's. That's the thing too, is that we enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're not like, I love you, but I don't like you anymore. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people that are like that with their partners. Yeah. I have friends that are like that with their boyfriends right now, but I'm telling them, hey, maybe loving them isn't enough anymore. Maybe you need to cut those ties.
Right.
But like, I'm so glad to be with someone that I also like. Because Ace is so fun. He's so funny. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met. And I'm not just saying that because him and I have the same sense of humor. He's a very charismatic guy. I mean, we met doing theater, so you kind of have to be. But it's like, and I feel like, I don't know. I like gushing about Ace when I can. And this is a whole new audience for me to gush about Ace with. You guys don't know anything about him yet. But yeah, I think at some point we could probably get him on here.
Sure.
He doesn't like phone calls, but I think he'd do it for me.
Right.
Just maybe, you know.
Do a FaceTime feed. Throw it on the podcast.
I could do that. I could just leave my laptop at home for him, and he could FaceTime me that way.
Put him up on the big screen.
Yeah.
like 1984.
Big Ace is watching. I think my favorite thing is that have I told you that I have legitimately scared people by introducing them to Ace because they like people when they hear the name Ace and it's spelled like ACE, so they expect like, not to put too fine a point on it, a trans man. Or like a non-binary person. Like people like, because Ace isn't a super common cis guy name. But it's kind of like Kai, you know? It's one of those names that you kind of only expect to hear from like little kids and like trans guys. And so when people meet Ace, it's really funny because for those who don't know, Ace is he's a couple inches taller than me. He's stocky. He's Italian, so he's like covered in body hair, and he has a full beard. He has the entire time that I've been dating him, mind you. He's had I don't know if I've told you that, but he's always had facial hair. He has only gone clean shaven to grow it back. Like, you know? So he has like a full beard, and he has really long hair. He has like a nose piercing, like an eyebrow piercing. He's like a kind of an intimidating dude when you first meet him. You haven't met him yet, I don't think. Sometime you should. But yeah, so people think he's really intimidating because he also has like kind of RBF because he just naturally like furrows his brows or whatever. But then you talk to him and he's like, yeah, hey, what's up? Yeah, cool, thanks. Like he's really like just genuine to talk to and whatever. When I met him, we met in gym class, and we were 14, so I had a code word for him with Claire. No,
I'm looking.
I know.
Did my mic cut out? Why is there a red line on it?
No, you're good.
No, why is there a red line above it?
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't.
You see
that weird.
Versus that? Am I coming through?
I don't know. Talking on the thing again? I can hear you in my headset.
Okay, then it should be good.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
This is like around the exact moment when it cut out last time.
Oh, interesting. I guess we'll find out.
Maybe it means I peaked recently.
I don't think so.
And I did peak.
Yeah, you peaked when you played Super Princess Peach, the best game of all time.
I still need to finish it.
You do, because you need to catch all the
Challenge.
toads. Yeah, check that out on Nolan's YouTube channel.
Nolo2 Go-Go.
Yeah.
The name my grandmother calls me to dead name me. Because my dead name and my like preferred name are spelled, well, they're not spelled the same way. They're said the same way. I used to be Nolan and now I'm Nolynn.
I thought that was really clever when I first saw that, by the way.
It's super fucking cool. And people love it. They're like, that's a really pretty way to spell a name. I'm like, yeah.
I thought it was funny when I first met you and I saw that. I was like, so Nolan is definitely was her name. And I'm like, now I need to figure out if she's a she or a they. That was where I was at. I was like, okay, this is a she, they, or a she, they situation. I need to figure out which one it is.
Yeah, so then because of that, you can kind of just say Nolan, and it's just not a big deal. Like, you don't need to say Nolynn. I kind of like when people do, but it's not a big deal if they just say Nolan. But my grandmother, instead of just saying that, she'll say Nolo, because that's my 8th grade nickname. She'll be like, hey, Nolo. And it's like, great.
Thanks.
You found a way to do it. You found a way to do the impossible.
I built this specifically for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, but I thought that was really neat when I first when I first saw your name spelled out, and I realized I was like, oh.
Yeah. That also does make it confusing to say
queer to queer
the
communication right there.
But and then it is complicated when I have to introduce people like I'm Nolan. They're gonna automatically assume A-N. So then I spell it out. I go, I'm Nolan, Nolynn.
I'll never get over the fucking guy that dead named you. Like, fully just misspelled your name even though it was written in front of him.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that guy. I told the teacher right away, and she's like, I completely understand. Yeah, fuck. But
I love that you immediately were like, yeah, so he did this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As you should.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
We're not gonna name names, but.
What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, my new way of doing it when there's new hires at work, I go, hi, I'm Nolan, Nolynn, 6 out of 10 trans woman, and then they love that, and they're always like,
I love that.
Yeah. So that's how I introduce, and that's how I get it through.
That's great. I actually love your name. I think that's so neat.
It's very cool.
But yeah, I think it was. I've genuinely scared a couple of people by introducing them to Ace though, because they were expecting a twink, and I was like, no, this is my
quite the opposite.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is my 5'10", 200-pound boyfriend that's covered in hair and like a beard and long hair, and he's a dude. Mm-hmm. That is a man. But it's always really funny when people come up, because people come up and they're like, oh, hi, lady. Oh, when we're at like a dinner table, because they see like, because he also has like curly hair too. So it looks like nice. So people come and they'll be like, hi, ladies. And then they'll realize they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, because, there's a full beard and hey. He also has a deep voice. So it's like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we are good to call it for this week.
We hit 130?
We're about to.
129?
Yeah, we're about to. Check us out. Like we said, we do have that link tree up now.
We do have a link tree.
It has. Yeah, it was like we aren't super great with figuring out how we want to use those socials yet, but we will post our new uploads there, and that's the main purpose.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum we will post there, and then I don't know. Maybe we should make you a link tree. We can each put our personal link trees in there too.
I have one. It's very outdated.
Well, you should update it, and then
weird pictures of me on it.
I updated mine
March of 2023, pre-estrogen.
Damn. Not the pre-estrogen.
It's not good out here.
Your fucking picture on my phone is still an old ass picture. It's a picture of you with Jonesy.
Yeah. Yeah. Throw that one up.
Yeah, throw that one up there.
Press M real quick.
No
marker.
No, but yeah. So check us out on our socials, personal and combined, and we will catch you guys next week with some more stories and tales.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye.
Goodbye.